He claims he was just looking for UFOs, but could now face 60 years in a U.S. prison. For almost a decade, Washington has been demanding the extradition of the autistic UK hacker Gary McKinnon under a treaty designed to get hold of terrorists. A final decision is expected on Tuesday, but as Laura Smith reports, London could still step in.
Gary McKinnon's mother, Janice, has been up all night, working to get everything in order to convince the Home Secretary not to deport her mentally ill son for trial in America. It's 10 years since the US demanded Gary's extradition for hacking into the Pentagon's computers from his North London bedroom. He's mildly autistic and doctors say a very real suicide risk.
Gary would not survive 5 minutes, and that's agreed by so many top psychiatrists and doctors. Do we really extradite somebody with a mental condition who is suicidal and has the emotional age of a child? Does a civilised country do this? Surely not.
But there may be a light at the end of the tunnel. The Home Secretary has until October the 16th to decide whether she'll block the extradition. Gary's mother has high hopes, as does his lawyer, who won't give up if the worst happens.
We've been to the Supreme Court twice, we've been to the House of Lords, we've been to the High Court, so that, we've exhausted every possible legal challenge we can, because his legal team are all absolutely sure and convinced that if extradition were ordered, he would commit suicide. So we're talking about a man's life here.
Todner has built a successful practice on fighting what are seen as one-sided extradition rules. In the treaty with the US, the Americans must only show reasonable suspicion if they want to extradite a Briton, compared with probable cause going the other way. The result, 9 times more Britons have been extradited than Americans. It's a treaty that even David Blunkett, the Home Secretary who signed it in 2003, admits was a mistake. It's now under review, but so far it's just words. Also just talk has been Prime Minister David Cameron and his deputy Nick Clegg's support for Gary McKinnon. Both were loudly on his side while in opposition, but after 2.5 years in power, there's been no action. All the while, the case has robbed 45-year-old Gary of almost a quarter of his life and taken a potentially irreversible toll on his health.
He's beginning to wonder what is real and what isn't. He says it's like there's a veil between him and the world, and sometimes he actually feels that it's just not real. Gary used to cycle, he used to swim, he wrote music, he sang.
If Gary had been tried in the UK at the start, he would have served his sentence and been able to put all this behind him by now. As it is, he's stuck in limbo, still liable to 60 years in an American jail and still insisting he was only looking for evidence of UFOs. Laura Smith, RT, London.